Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, DICE finally talks about what is coming in Battlefield 2042 Season 5, and this is a bit of a surprise because there's a lot of stuff that we've been asking for a very long time in this, and a lot of the changes are going to be quite good. With that being said, a lot of the changes pose some very interesting balancing questions, and of course we'll get into that in depth. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and of course subscribe to the channel. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. First link in the description. It's free, drop my channel a follow. And yeah, there was episode 9 of Inside Battlefield podcast, and DICE revealed a ton of stuff here. First of all, vault weapon quality of life changes in Season 5 is going to be a main focus. They're essentially revamping vault weapons entirely. Unfortunately, we will not be receiving all of these changes all at once. They're going to be spread out between updates 5.0, 5.1, and 5.2. The big changes to vault weapons are as follows. An extremely large variety of vault weapons are going to receive a large majority of 2042's attachments, such as barrels, lasers, scopes, bipods, etc. DICE is also planning on adding some new scopes while keeping the original scopes to the vault weapons available for the player. DICE also stated in this podcast that some weapons will have multiple lasers, and most of the weapons will receive their extended mags at first. Now, the extended mags is something I want to talk about, because if you look at a vault weapon like the M16A4 or the M16A3, these weapons are incredibly strong as is, just because of their accuracy. And I don't think a lot of people use them, but the M16A3 is on par, at least in my opinion, within ranged effectiveness to the RM68. Now, if you give the M16A3, say, a 50-round extended magazine, that is going to be insane. Apparently, Update 5.0 will contain all of the vault weapon attachments for ARs and the Gull Sniper Magnum, whereas the rest of the vault weapons will receive their attachments in Updates 5.1 and 5.2. Now, it's important to note that also in 5.0, we are receiving universal weapon skins for all vault weapons. This would be pretty cool. I'd like to see some legacy skins from Battlefield 3. If you remember from Battlefield 3, the M416, I believe, had a Forest DD Pat or some sort of digital camo on it. That'd be cool to bring back. I would also really like to see them introduce Tier 1 camos for the vault weapons, but unfortunately they did not mention anything regarding that. Now, some other further changes they mentioned is DICE is apparently looking to add some quote-unquote more versatility to vault weapons. DICE stated within this podcast that some of the 2042 vault weapons can compete with the base game 2042 weapons, but not all of them can, and they are absolutely correct. I'm not sure if anyone has used the M60 or the RPK, but those weapons can't hit the broadside of a barn, and there's legitimately no reason to use them at all over any of the 2042 base game weapons, and that is a shame. And a lot of these weapons would be relatively easy to fix. For whatever reason, a lot of these vault weapons are simply just not as accurate as the 2042 base game counterparts. Some are, like the M16A3 and the M416, but like, for instance, the MTAR, the RPK, the AKS-74U, all of these weapons just fall short in a lot of categories. And all that we'd really need to do is make sure that their accuracy is relatively the same relative to their 2042 counterparts, and, you know, give them some competitive attributes. I would love to see them change the damage model on the AKS-74U to something completely different than this fast RPM thing. Perhaps you could make it like the SCAR of the SMGs, for instance. But overall, I am very happy to see them take this direction with vault weapons. I would love to see them become more competitive to the base game weapons. Now, moving on to some extremely long-awaited for nerfs, the RM68 and the G57 will both be getting nerfed in an upcoming patch. The RM68 is simply too powerful, as DICE stated, and apparently DICE is looking at nerfing the burst mode specifically on the G57. Now, I'm not really worried about the RM68 getting nerfed. I think that is one of those weapons that is so powerful that even with nerfs, it'll still be incredibly good. However, the G57 nerf, they have to be careful about, because if they nerf the wrong thing about the burst mode, they're going to make the weapon pretty bad. The correct way to nerf the G57 is to nerf the bursts per minute, but you can't go overboard on it, or else it becomes like the 93R, and it just feels terrible. They cannot reduce the RPM of the burst. So, for instance, the Glock shoots incredibly quickly in a burst. If they were to reduce the RPM of the burst, but not the burst per minute, I don't know, it just wouldn't feel good. Burst fire weapons typically have extremely high rate of fires within that burst, and I think nerfing the bursts per minute is absolutely the correct way to go about nerfing the G57. I would also take a look at the headshot multiplier of the G57. Off the top of my head, I think it's over 2. It might be like 2.15, which in my opinion for a sidearm is ludicrously high. Both of these nerfs are long overdue and definitely welcome. The sidearm category has been utterly dominated by the G57 ever since the beginning of the game, and it was only recently maybe slightly contested by the Super 500 that was just recently added in Season 4. However, I mean, the Glock is clearly one of the best guns in the game, not just the best sidearm in the game. And lastly, DICE mentioned in this podcast that they're looking at a new developer blog apparently later this week, which is always good. Developer blogs tell us what is going on with the game, and that is always good to hear from. Overall, Season 5 is going to have some great changes, long-awaited changes, and changes that people have asked for an extremely long time. However, I do have to mention that their silence is deafening regarding any further support for Battlefield 2042 after Season 5's completion. This simply cannot be ignored. There is some reason why they didn't confirm Year 2 yet, and they've only confirmed Season 5. There has to be a reason for that. Maybe it's this classic DICE where they sort of messed up with something and like, oh yeah, by the way guys, we're going to do Season 6 and 7 and 8 and blah blah blah, and everything's going to be fine. But maybe there's also a distinct possibility that this is the last Battlefield 2042 season we will receive. And if that is the case, how long is the wait going to be before the next Battlefield comes out with zero content? I certainly remember what it was like trying to keep my channel alive during Battlefield 5, or just trying to keep myself entertained during Battlefield 5 after they canceled it, and I just really don't want to go through that again because I don't know if you guys have had a look around at the gaming industry right now, specifically FPS games, but everything sucks. Warzone 2 sucks. It has record low viewer numbers and record low player counts every single time I check it. And generally, anything good is about 6 to 10 years old. So hopefully they don't cancel Battlefield 2042. I'd be unbelievably bored if they did. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel. Follow my Twitch channel, first link in the description. And I will see you guys later.
Hostile fire team, 50 meters away from my position. Enemy soldier there! Gotcha!